Good evening and welcome to the March 24th, 2021 Conservation Commission meeting for the town of North Andover. Just a brief announcement as to tonight's meeting format. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12th, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law and the Governor's March 15th, 2020 order imposing strict limitation on the number of people they may gather in one place, this meeting of the North Andover Conservation Commission will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. Specific information and the general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and/or parties with a right and/or requirement to attend this meeting can be found on the town's website at www.northandoverma.gov. For this meeting, members of the public who wish to listen to the meeting may do so on their televisions by tuning to Comcast Channel 8 or Verizon Channel 26 or online at www.northandovercam.org. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. In the event that we are unable to do so despite our best efforts, we will post on the Town of North Andover website an audio or video recording, transcript, or other comprehensive record of the proceedings as soon as possible after the meeting. If the public would like to participate in the public hearings, please email your question or comment prior to or during the meeting to amaxner@northandoverma.gov. The question or comment will be read during the proceedings and responded to accordingly. And I'll hand it to the chair for to start the meeting.
All right, thank you, Amy. First, I'd like to call on the members. The first one will be Jack Mabin.
Here.
Next one is Joe Lynch.
Here.
And then myself, Lou Napoli. And last but not least, Sean McDonough.
Thanks, Lou. Here.
All right, very good. We're called to order. We need the approval of minutes for March 10th, 2021.
Yeah, I've read these minutes, and I move that we approve them as drafted.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? And that's unanimous. Thank you. First order of business is COC 242-1785-221 Blue Ridge Road.
All righty. So this order, issued in June of 2020, governed the replacement of a failing timber retaining wall and stairs with a new concrete block wall and granite steps that frame in the southwest corner of the yard. A proposed patio, fire pit, and landscaping and lawn within the confines of the new retaining wall was also proposed. New perimeter fencing, additional perimeter native landscaping, and removal of an existing brick patio to be replaced with landscaping bed. Work was within the 100-foot buffer zone to BBW. A very small corner of that timber wall was in the 50, for which the commission provided a waiver. The project engineer certified compliance, noting that a section of the fence at the end of the driveway was not installed, that being the only deviation. I observed the site and I found it to be stable and in compliance. I had ordered that the erosion control mulch socks could be removed. They were removed by Wednesday this morning, and I received photographic confirmation. So the site is in compliance and it looks good, and I recommend issuing a full and complete certificate of compliance with ongoing conditions as prescribed in the order.
Thank you, Amy. Any questions, Jack?
I have no questions on this case, Lou.
All right. Joe?
None.
Sean?
No questions.
Motion?
Move that we issue a certificate of compliance 242-1785 for 221 Blue Ridge Road.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And that's unanimous. Thank you. Next one is 242-1776, 805 Forest Street.
Alrighty, so the order issued in January of 2020 governed the construction of an in-ground pool with associated cartridge filtration system, paver patio areas, aluminum fencing that was close to the perimeter of the pool patio. Minimal grading was proposed around the immediate edge of the main pool, and the pool mechanical equipment was to be located entirely outside of the buffer zone. Limit of work was proposed at 79 feet from the edge of the wetland. This wetland contains a potential vernal pool, and so all of the work as proposed was compliant with the ephemeral pool setbacks, which is a 50-foot no disturb zone and a 75-foot no build zone. The site is stable, but there are the following deviations as noted in the engineer's letter. The patio around the pool was expanded to up against the house and a little bit more in the buffer zone. A majority of the patio is outside the buffer zone, but I had asked to get a calculation as to what the increase in the buffer zone was, and I haven't got that yet. The other deviation was that the fence, as I mentioned, was originally proposed surrounding the pool. It was extended to encompass the perimeter of the yard. And I had asked if the plan could be updated to show the 25-foot no disturb zone to see, you know, how close it is to the wetland. And if indeed this is ephemeral pool, the fence would be in the no disturb zone. I informed the applicant and his engineer that these deviations, are a problem and it would impact the commission's ability to issue a certificate of compliance. And I guess the other route that we could take is, considering it's springtime, the applicant could decide to try to certify or decertify whether this is a vernal pool or not, and some of the questions would be answered that way. That's all I have right now.
Okay, thank you, Amy. Jack?
Yeah, just, this is quite a deviation from the approved order. I'm not of a mind to issue a certificate of compliance tonight. I think that would not be a very good idea for us. It looks like the chain link fence is clearly within the 50-foot no build and might even be touching the 25-foot no disturb near that flag 4A. So this is quite an expansion beyond the approved order. I'm very concerned about it, and well, I'll just leave it at that and let the other commissioners comment.
Thank you, Jack. Joe?
Yeah, I agree with everything that Jack said, but by way of clarification, there was, I think it's a separate certificate of compliance for a pool that had a gate opening into the resource area, or at least the buffer zone to the resource area. That is not this one. That's a different filing.
Well, actually, when I was on site, I did the fence on the wetland side does have a gate.
Okay, so at a minimum, the gate has to go regardless, because that's the whole purpose of. There's no purpose for being in there if there's a no disturbance zone. Right. So why have a gate?
Right.
So the gate at the very minimum has to go, and I think everything else is kind of out in the wind until we determine whether that's a resource area or not. But also, was the vernal pool issue discussed during the permitting process? Because I don't remember that. It would be kind of borderline unfair to kind of foist that upon them at this point if it wasn't discussed as a resource during filing.
It was definitely discussed as a resource in the filing.
Okay, good.
And,
All right, so
and-
that I completely agree with Jack, but I think the gate has to go at a minimum.
Okay.
And that's all I have.
Thank you, Joe. I'm agreeing with the two commissioners ahead of me. Plus the fact is, Amy, you've reached out to him, the engineer, and have got no response, and that stuff bothers me. I think we've always been openly communicating with everybody, and when they don't respond, that I don't like that.
So,
and I read your narrative, and I already talked to Tel about it. It said the patio crept closer to the wetland by 8 inches. I hope that's a typo.
no, it is 8 inches.
8 inches.
Yeah, but it expanded towards the house, which was partly in the buffer.
Okay.
So, I talked to Jack Sullivan today. He can't make the meeting, but the applicant is here with us this evening. So, I don't know whether it was just Jack was just too busy to get that information to me or whatever, but so.
Okay. And last but not least, we have another applicant that we've been kind of like haggling with the vernal pool. And his application hinges on that vernal pool. So I don't think it would be fair for us to not look at this vernal pool. So I think there's more work to be done. Thank you. Sean?
Amy, what's the distance between the fence and the resource area?
I would say it's just about 25 measured in the field.
Yep. Okay, I don't have anything else other than what everybody else contributed.
Okay. I don't know.
Just to expand upon Sean's questioning, the fence being with it just about 25 would be just a normal buffer zone to a normal EVW. But
Right.
if this is in fact a vernal pool, it would be more stringent. The 25 wouldn't necessarily come into play. It would be 50, correct?
Right. Correct.
Yeah. So it's not a matter of inches as opposed to it could be half as much.
Right. So I know the homeowners with us this evening. I don't know if you have anything to add, Fareed?
Oh, hi, Amy. Yeah, I don't honestly. So I left this all up to Jack because I have to be frankly with you, I have no idea what's the regulation, what's need to be done and what's not. So I leave that up to Jack to make the call on this because he was the one who was taking the measurement and monitoring this and was doing the inspection during the whole process of this project. So I want to be in the right place to make call on this.
Okay.
Lou,
Thank you.
Lou, if I could add something, this is Jack.
Go ahead, Jack.
I just as moving toward deciding what we do tonight, I think it's important to talk about what our process is. If an applicant is operating under an order of conditions and they want to make a change, they usually contact, or the process is that they contact our office, and then they propose the change. That change is reviewed by the commission, and either it's approved and made part of a revised order, or it's denied and the order doesn't change at all. So that's what should have happened. What happened was the fence was installed as is, without any permission. And so I guess the question I have is, if this were put to us under the normal process, under a modification request, would we approve it? And again, the vernal pool question, the ephemeral pool question is very relevant to that question. But if they would have proposed this, would we have approved this, or would we have approved something else?
No, I agree with Jack. And one thing we try and be is consistent, and a phone call to Amy, the worst case scenario could have been a modification, but to do all the work and don't communicate with the conservation department at all, and then apply for COC and give us an as-built that's not near what the approved plan is. I think it's wrong.
So would the commission could vote to deny the certificate of compliance and that would allow the applicant to engage a wetland person to figure out whether this is a vernal pool or not.
Well, I think they would have to, if they want to go through with the fence at this location, they would have to apply for a modification under the order.
That's what I was
And then-
seeing, exactly that.
Yep.
Until we know whether this resource area is in fact an ephemeral pool or not, kind of drives whether we would have allowed it or not. So if it's not an ephemeral pool and they're simply going up to the 25 but not into it, and to your point, Jack, we might have approved it, you know, administratively or even part of the original NOI, then that is a simple modification. However, if it's a vernal pool, we never would have, and there's a problem here. So I think, you know, pivotal, this whole discussion is whether it's an ephemeral pool or not. And it has to be determined. So I think all those things come into play. And so I think it's perhaps short to deny, but I think, you know, 2 weeks for them to be able to get that information is reasonable. And beyond that, it simply might be denied because they are not in compliance.
Thank you.
So do you
Thank
guys want to
Joe.
continue it or deny it?
I think we ought to continue it to give them the opportunity to determine whether it's an ephemeral pool or not. And if it's not, then they could file a modification that we could then discuss. And honestly, if it's something that would have been approved, simply not included in the original NOI, then we could take that at its own merit and vote it as a modification or not. And if it is modified, it's an after the fact modification, and then it might be in compliance. But all that's based upon a presumption that the ephemeral pool is not a resource. And if it is, you know, all bets are off. There's a problem out here.
So can all that be done in 2 weeks?
I think so.
Our next meeting is April 14th, so it is 3 weeks. So we have an extra week. The weather's getting warmer, and you know we may have the
Friday
breeding going on. Friday, big night.
Friday's rain might trigger it.
Right.
Well, the peepers are already out behind my house.
Okay.
Exactly right. We have a substantial one. They'll be out everywhere.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so we need a motion.
I move to continue.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? And that's unanimous.
All
So
right,
Amy, you know what direction you have to take.
yeah, so continue to the April 14th meeting, and I'll communicate with the applicant and Jack Sullivan, the engineer, that their best route is to go get this figured out, whether it's a vernal pool.
Yep. And reinforce to Mrs. Sullivan that any work that changes on an approved plan has to come for modification.
Yep, I read through the order during a pre-construction meeting, so.
I know you do. I know, but sometimes you gotta, slap somebody in the side of the head so they listen.
Okay.
Friendly reminder.
Oh my goodness.
Although that's not a literal order.
No.
No, we don't want you beating people up.
Okay.
Well, sometimes it is. There's an exception to every rule.
No.
That's right.
All right. Okay,
Thank you.
great. Thank you.
All right, next one's a minor modification, 242-1676.
Okay, so the commission will recall this order governs demolition of an existing house and construction of a new one. And so far that the demo has happened and the stone wall has been installed along the 25. The applicant has been you know, a, in the midst of securing a buyer, the current buyer wants a different footprint for the house. So we have a modified plan that has basically a smaller footprint for the house, a little bit farther away from the wetland, and the applicant is asking for a minor modification for this.
Okay. Joe? Excuse me, Jack.
Yeah, this applicant is following our process and asking for a modification ahead of time, which is what we asked them to do. It looks very approvable to me. I have no comments for beyond that.
Thank you. Joe?
I have nothing to add.
Thank you. And just to add, a quick add, I had communication with this gentleman, and he's been more than helpful in explaining, and I tried to explain to him the best I could as far as way to go, and he's been very, very compliant. Thank you. Sean?
Couple questions. Do we have any barriers at the 25 on this as far as our order of conditions?
We have the field stone wall.
Oh, good. Okay.
The 25.
And, great. And I saw it's labeled as a minor modification. Is that a special category or just an adjective that you use to describe it?
Oh, I guess I use minor. I use minor in Beverly, so.
Yep. Do you use any major? Is there a major?
Well, a major would be an amendment.
Okay.
No,
All
okay.
right. So how about no more adjectives? Just a modification. Sound good?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
thanks.
we don't need any captain modifications and lieutenants.
Very, very minor modifications.
Okay.
All right. Thanks.
All right, we need a motion.
I move that we approve the modification to 242-1676 as proposed.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, and that's unanimous.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, can you
Oh,
hear
yeah,
me?
Brian, yeah, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Well, thank you. Now that the commission has made that decision, will you, or how does that work in terms of as this individual's applying for a building permit and requires a conservation sign off?
Sure. So I'll prepare the modification permit and get it to you, and then I'll sign off on the building permit, and we'll do a pre-construction.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Yep.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right. Next one is RDAs for Phillipsburg Road, Atkinson Elementary School.
All righty. So Steve Foster is with us this evening, just so you know if there's questions for him. So this RDA is for the installation of an above-ground reader device to read license plates for vehicles picking up students at the school and associated underground electrical conduit. Work will be occurring within 25-foot no disturb zone of an existing
Hey, Donna?
stream. The applicant has submitted a waiver because the work will be occurring with the 25, which is at the shoulder of the paved access drive. Approximately 30 feet of the conduit will be installed along the edge of the pavement next to the stream, and then it will take a left and head towards the school, and that part of the trench will be entirely within the paved parking area and access drive. Let's see. Conservation Department staff met with Mr. Foster on site, and in their waiver request, we found that, the proposed location really is the only location for this, because if you were to locate it across the access drive, the reader would not be able to read the license plates, just in terms of how traffic patterns are. And then if they were to do a pole installation, the Wi-Fi signals may not be sufficient in other locations, and the pole installation would require vegetation removal. We recommend that you close the hearing and issue a negative number 3 with conditions that require erosion control installation, a pre and post construction site inspection.
Thank you, Amy.
Yep.
Jack, any questions?
Yeah, Amy, just a basic question. That swale, does that flow to what, a catch basin on Mass Ave? Where does that go?
Yeah, it's it does definitely go under what are those things called under the road?
Amy, I can help
Culvert?
you here. This is Steve Foster. There's an inlet
Hi,
device right at the corner of the Atkinson driveway and Mass Avenue. So there's an inlet structure right at that location that takes the inflow from the drainage swale.
Great, I thought so. Steve, while I have you, I have questions about the sketch. Okay, there's 3 arrows, one pointing to a reader device, a second one pointing to a proposed UG conduit, underground conduit, and then a third pointing to initial proposed UG conduit location. Are those 2 proposed conduit locations what you're asking for?
The initially proposed one, which is shown in red, was what I drew in on the initial sketch that I submitted to Amy. What it did was make the travel of the underground conduit across the paved way as short as possible. However, Amy suggested to me, without slapping me on the side of the head, by the way, that's a joke, okay, and that I do the location in the dark black dashed line that you see there, and it took the location of that underground further away from the wetland resource area. No problem doing that whatsoever. That's the origins of that final location you see in the dark dash there.
So you're proposing the dark black, not the red dashed?
No,
That is correct. Yeah.
I thought that was the red. Hold on.
You're proposing the red, right?
I thought the red was the proposal, and the black was the initial.
You know, I might have colored them in wrong, Amy. If I do, I apologize, but I believe we had said we wanted the route of the underground to be as far away from the resource area as possible, and that is the dark black dashed line that I show there. So maybe my coloring wasn't up to par here.
Yeah, it looks like the path shown in red is further from the resource area, and and it does say proposed. So I'm thinking that that's what your route is. I don't see another option on this, and I think you know, if you're going to read those license plates of cars coming in, you're doing it the only way you can. So I think you've done all you can on this, and I have no further questions, Will.
Thank you, Jack. Joe?
Been sitting here kind of biting my tongue. I have no issue with from a conservation perspective, but kind of concerned by what process are we reading people's license plates when the police department can't even do that legally.
Joe, I can clarify that, and just a point of information, we're not reading license plates. We are reading what is an RFID device similar to what you have on your dashboard that reads your toll when you go through the booth. That's it. It's
so people are
consenting on the mirror.
And again, non-conservation.
Right.
People have consented to this as a means of simplifying the pickup and drop off of students and security of the.
Absolutely. It is just to manage the vehicle queue, get it off Mass Ave, get the students in the right order, and reduce idling time. Really, that's the mission here.
Well, that makes the conservation thing that much easier for me to say I have no problem.
Yeah.
Thank
Sorry,
you.
that was my mistake.
No problem.
As somebody used to drop off somebody at Atkinson School, it's a disaster. So anything you can do to improve that, that's great.
Yeah,
But
this will do that.
Yeah, but Steve, if you can't get your colors right, I'm gonna have Amy come over and slap you on the side of the head.
No,
I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
and
Louis. I didn't pass that in kindergarten.
no, the
Um,
red line is what you want to do.
Okay, Amy, my bad there. Yep.
That's okay.
All right, that's good. I have no more questions. Sean?
No questions, Lou.
All right, motion.
So I
Moving the
recommend
waiver.
oh, yes, I'm sorry, yeah. Vote on the waiver for the 25. I think I heard the commission
I
feel.
move that we grant the waiver to the 25 no disturb zone as they've met the alternative analysis requirement.
Mhm.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's unanimous. I gotta write this one down because Sean approved the waiver. And now we vote on the RDA.
So I recommended a -3 with the conditions as proposed.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? And that's unanimous. Thank you.
Yep, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Steve.
Bye-bye. Good
Next-
night.
Good night.
You too.
Next one is 492 Sutton Street, Lawrence Municipal Airport Commission.
All righty. So we have Randy Christensen with Stan Tech with us this evening. He's on standing by if you have questions, if I can't answer any that you have. So basically, the Lawrence Municipal Airport is upgrading and maintaining 6 of their security access gates. 3 of them occur within the 100-foot buffer zone, gates 3, 4, and 6. Gate 3, work will occur within the 25-foot no disturb zone, and this is all in-kind replacement of existing appurtenances and underground conduit. So it's not, work that's new. It's just replacement of what's there. So at gate 3, they're going to remove and replace the existing gate operator box and concrete pad, remove and replace an existing card reader and associated tube footings with replacement of electrical wires back to the gate operator. They're going to uncover and modify the existing utility trench between the gate and supply pole. The trench will be backfilled to match existing grade. Trench will occur in the turf area between the drainage swale and the paved aircraft apron. They'll reclaim and replace existing paved approaches to the gate with replacement ground pressure signal loop wires in the pavement. So that's gate 3. Gate 4 is located outside of the 100-foot buffer zone, but a portion of the gate approach pavement occurs within the outer reaches of the 100-foot buffer zone. So basically, work at gate 4 involves reclaim and replacing existing paved approaches to the gate with replacement ground pressure signal loop wires and pavement. Gate 6, most of the work will occur within the 25-foot no disturb zone. Removal and replacement of existing gate operator box and concrete pad, removal and replacement of existing card readers, associated tube footings, and replacement of electrical wires back to the gate operator, removal and replace of existing bollards and footings, uncover and modify the existing utility trench between the gate and supply pole. The trench will be backfilled to match existing grade. Trench will occur in the turf area bordering the non-wetland side of the road. Reclaim and replace existing paved approaches with the gate to the gate and replacement of the ground pressure signal loop wires in the pavement. Taylor and I visited the site with Randy and looked at each of these areas. And, it is what it is with what's there. So there's not a lot of options to start moving things around. So I would recommend just closing the hearing and issuing a -3 with erosion control installation pre and post construction site visits.
Thank you, Amy. Jack, any questions?
Yeah, Amy, how do you assess their proposed erosion control? Specifically in the areas right up against resource area.
Right. So, you know, I think I'd like a little what's the word I'm looking for? Discretion to make the call in the field, but our our usual 12-inch mulch stock will work. Maybe in some spots it would need an extra stretch of silt fence.
I guess I guess, I mean, I'm looking at it and more concerned about gate 6 than anything.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, is there something, could we do something better there? Because, you know, basically we're going to be disturbing the resource area until the work is done. And are there any better options we could explore? And maybe that's a question for Randy too.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'd be happy to chime in on that particular gate. That gate, unfortunately, is the one where there have been the ongoing beaver problems in the adjacent wetland that has overtopped the roads, overtopped the adjacent corporate parking lots. So the wetland boundary has been in flux depending on the activity of the beaver in that particular site. And as you can tell from the plans, we obviously have very little room in between the existing footing for the motor, the gate motor, and the card readers and the bollards that we're putting back right in place. So every, I guess, foot of space that we have to work counts in that particular area. So when we get into some of the more intrusive, even silt fence, some of the more intrusive erosion controls where we're actually starting to dig closer to get the erosion controls in, starts to really limit the work area, makes things very tight, and starts to affect the work and the ability to do the job. Thought silt sock was definitely the right one to do. Now, however, adding additional stakes to get better compression between the sock and the ground certainly makes a lot of sense. And the area, and I did supply some photographs of Gate 6 in the RDA. You'll see that it turns to wooded area, shrubbery growth, and things like that pretty quickly. Obviously, silt sock doesn't work well in such situations. So we're really trying to fit this in where the turf meets that woody growth and not have to cut a thing. So the width of the erosion control, whatever is spec'd, certainly is going to play into the ability to do the job. The things I will give here is that the area is very flat around the gate, very level. We don't have much pitch at all. In fact, the road isn't even peaked in that area. If anything, the road drains away from the wetland side towards the upland side of the road. So that's actually good news that we don't have a pitch, we don't have a toe of slope. So I do have some faith in the ability of silt sock to do the job in this location for those reasons, but I really want it because of the lack of elbow room in that particular location.
Would it be practical to consider traditional hay bales in that specific location?
And it's the width of the bales and the need to get the compression. So we have bales now that will be 2 to 2.5 times the bottom width of a silt sock, and we start bumping into the uneven ground. Hay bales would, I think, do as good a job as the silt sock. My only problem with them in this location is that we're not going to get a great seal between the bales and the ground without doing a little bit of clearing to put the bales in. because if we have any woodies under them at all, you just leave airspace, and at that point they're there for show and not doing much. Good thing about the silt sock is if we can put it in the turf section where there's no woodies, we get 100% seal with the ground, and that's the important thing here. The other thing is the duration of the gate closures. They're very short term. Obviously, these gates are used on a daily basis by the traffic going in and out of the airport. So we've provided very strict time specifications for each gate. So once they get to work on one, they have a very minimal amount of time to actually do the work. So I know the commission has dealt with a lot of projects where soils are left disturbed for quite a while, but we have less than 30-day time periods at each one of these gates from start to finish, including the seeding, the topsoiling and the seeding. And so, and we do have resident inspection as well. It's not being left to the contractor. We do have the engineers on site that are from Stantec that are associated with this project. So I'm hoping that combination of things and Amy's comment about having some flexibility, particularly in that location, I'm hoping the commission will sign on to that.
That sounds like you're taking a good approach. I guess, you know, and I'll defer to you guys on the choice of the erosion control. I just know that those hay bales are more, they seem to be more sturdy, bigger, and all. But if the silt socks are going to work better, then I defer to you guys. I guess you know, I guess my point is that you know, with the negative RDA, we relinquish a lot of control over the activities of the project, and you know, if something starts going wrong, you know, is Amy going to have access, and are you going to follow her directions if we need to make adjustments? You know,
first of all, relative to access, there is upland access or non-secure side access to each one of these sites. So the gate has a non-secure side and a secure side, so you can drive right up to each one of these gates without airport permission or without having to be escorted. My tenure at the airport spans 20-something years. The same with my tenure presenting before the North Andover Conservation Commission. I'm working with the same team that has always worked these projects at the airport, and we've got a pretty good routine going here between the commission and the airport project. So I'll use reputation for one thing, and I expect this project to go the same. But again, if you look at those photos of that gate 6, the abilities of something to go wrong, barring new beaver activity, that's the one where we would have to make the call if they start flooding out our site. I think it's at maximum flood stage now, and we still have room to do the project. So,
can I interrupt you, Randy? I'm sorry.
Sure, Amy.
I think we lost Jack.
Yep.
Jack, are you with us?
Amy, this is Mike Miller. When appropriate, I'd also like to just confirm when Jack gets back on board that you'll have unfettered access to the airfield.
Okay.
I don't think Jack heard you, Amy.
No, I think I saw his number disappear. So.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll get Joe in the meantime. Joe, any questions?
Actually, I completely agree with Randy, and hello again. This is probably your easiest commute to one of our meetings.
Hello, Joey. Yes, it has been.
And I agree. The silt socks, given the topography and given the confined areas, I think anything else that we might do that would be more robust would be 1, overkill, and 2, actually creating disturbance that nobody wants. So, and I think the fact that it's an RDA, I don't think we're relinquishing much. And Mike Miller just alluded to the fact that we have access to this for inspection. But the 3 conditions we would normally add in are already protected. So I think everything they're asking to do is very reasonable and can be accomplished. So I have no further comment.
Thank you, Joe.
Jack is back.
Jack's back. Jack's back. Go ahead, Jack.
You can unmute, Jack.
*6.
There he is. Oh,
Well,
yes.
Oh, there he is.
Okay, I just did. I thought I did the chat earlier. Yeah, no, I'm good. I just want to make sure that we condition these erosion controls so that that Amy is apprised of the timing of the project, and can impact any potential failures of the erosion control, and just get this thing through. It's a project where we're right at the edge of the resource areas, and it needs to be looked at closely. So anyway, I have no more to add.
All right.
Sorry for the drop call.
That's okay.
I'm gonna
Go ahead.
no, I'm gonna start going via the Google Meets, I think.
My statement is Stantec and the airport have always done what they say they're going to do, and the projects they've really been good. So I know I'm familiar with Gate 6 and them nasty beavers that won't go away. So I have no question as long as Amy's in the loop. Thank you, Sean.
No questions, Lou.
Motion.
Do we need a
Waiver approval?
yeah, a waiver? Yeah.
Yeah.
Move that we grant waiver of the 25-foot no disturb zone.
Second.
For gate 3 and 6.
3 and 6,
All those
yeah.
in favor say aye.
Just for further discussion.
Oh, go ahead, Sean.
A little further discussion. So that is just to do repairs to an existing gate, correct?
Yes.
That's correct.
Okay. No more discussion on the waiver. Thanks, Lou.
Okay. You're welcome. All right. The opposed is unanimous. Boy, 2 waivers in one night, Sean.
Oh, these are the waivers I don't mind. You know, when we're talking about putting something on pavement and replacing a gate.
Yeah.
Okay. We need a motion for the RDA.
Move that we grant a negative determination number 3, and that we require the installation of erosion controls between the edge of the disturbed areas of the wetland resource areas, that pre-construction inspection of erosion controls required with the Conservation Department, and that a post-construction site visit with the department and the applicant to verify final stabilization be obtained.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? And that's unanimous. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Randy.
you, Commissioners.
Thank you, Amy.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Bye, Joe.
Mhm.
Next one, 292 Salem Street.
All righty. Okay, hold on one second here. Okay. So this is a request for determination of applicability for the installation of a chain link fence, approximately 150 feet of it, along the east side of the property, which will connect the house to a neighboring fence at the rear of the yard so that they can enclose their yard for their dog. We provided a map for you to show the location of the fence and our field inspector's measurements from the wetland, which is 35 feet. So the fence is outside of the 25-foot no disturb zone. And this section is the only section that was in the buffer. The rest of it is out of the buffer that would go on the other side of the yard. So I would recommend closing the hearing, issuing a negative number 3 determination with the requirements of a pre-construction inspection. All excavated soils from the post holes will be taken off site. And if minor vegetation removal is needed for fence install, that they only cut at the root base and leave the roots intact. But I don't think that vegetation impact is a big worry here. And Taylor's with us; he can speak to that. And then post-construction inspection to verify compliance.
Thank you, Amy. Jack, any questions?
Yeah, just one. There's a break in the fence. I'm looking at the red line and it looks like there's a break in the fence. Is that a shed?
Shed, yes. So the commission will recall having this project or the property before you for a patio at the rear of the house. And the shed was there at that time. And so I think the commission already reviewed it or knew about it.
Yeah. Okay. We should at very least verify that that's outside the 25-foot no disturb. But anyway, that's all I have. The rest of it looks very reasonable to me.
I can speak to that real quick. So the red line, this is Bill Gosselin, I'm the homeowner. The red line that you're seeing and where the break is, the upper part of it where the break happens, that's to the back corner of the shed. So that would be at the 35-foot measurement.
Yep.
So yeah,
That sounds
but
good.
the other shed, the other side, the shed goes closer to 35 feet. Like the section of the fence closer to the house. It seems like the shed goes closer than the 35 feet, as noted.
Oh,
And I agree with what you said on the other side of the shed. Yes.
And the shed was here when we bought the house 3.5 years ago.
Yeah. Okay. I have no more questions, Lou.
Thanks, Jack. Joe?
Yeah, I'm looking at what Jack's looking at too, and so the red line being, the 35-foot offset, if you will, by sketch, and I'm seeing the break being the area that's in discussion. That should be easy enough to do from aerial reconnaissance, looking back how long that shed has been there. Granted, nobody's accusing the current homeowner from having that there. It is surrounded by trees. It might be quite old. It might not be. We don't know. But I think Jack's point raised is a valid one. If it's more than 64 square feet, it's a structure. If it's a structure, it can't be permitted within the 25. Within the 50. It may be outside the 25 though. It may or may not be outside the 25, but it looks like it might be. So I think everything else on the application for a fence is pretty straightforward. The question becomes the debate on the shed. If we could hold that issue in abeyance and further investigate it, we could probably still, consider the fence project and consider the shed action as a separate action. But I'll hear what my other colleagues have to say.
Thank you, Joe. Sean?
No questions.
All right. So you want to approve the fence, and we got to research more of the shed. Is that what you're saying, Joe?
Kind of illogical from what we would typically do. If there was a violation, we couldn't issue a negative determination. But I think what's before us is the fence itself. If we were aware of the shed in the past or somehow didn't pick up on it in the past, I think that wouldn't be fair to the homeowner. I think the fence issue by itself is pretty straightforward. But I think the issue of the fence of the shed, if it could be moved, if it is in fact something that's not permitted and it simply appeared without a permit, then it could be moved as a separate enforcement order outside of this discussion. That's what I'm leaning towards.
Okay. Amy, when did you say that they came before us before?
I think it was April of 2019.
Okay. So in our defense, I would find it very hard to believe it. If that shed was in violation, we would let it go. I would say there's probably an extenuating circumstance that we let it go because maybe, like you say, Joe, it's been there for a long time or whatever. We can always have them research that, and if it's an issue, we could always do an enforcement order on that and let them build a fence. What do you think?
Well, I'm not saying that it's old or not. What I'm saying is we don't know. But if it is old, it certainly goes to the applicant's benefit. I'm looking at Google Earth, historically. I'm back at in 2013 photograph, I can see it's there. 2011, I can see. I can't see that it's not there, but because it's blurry. 2007, it's there. 2007, it's there.
Okay.
2004, wicked blurry. And in 2001, it's there. So I'm looking at Google Earth, going all the way back to 2001. It's been there 20 years, that shed.
Yeah. Well, like I said, he's been, his current is 2019, and we didn't pick up on the shed. So I would say we researched it previous, and we allowed the shed to stay. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I'm going back to 2001, and it's clearly there at that time. So that's a statement so much as a conclusion.
Okay. So what is that? What is your recommendation for plan of attack?
I'm gonna say it's a grandfathered shed from my perspective, and that the RDA is properly before us, and the issue of the shed probably has gone away.
Okay. Thank you. So
From my perspective.
Sean, are you in agreement with that?
Well, I wish I had more of a history on the shed as to what we knew about it earlier. If this were the first time that it came up in front of us, I would have some issues with it. Want to look even further into some of the historical photography. But if we've already viewed this once and we did not take action on it, I wouldn't necessarily do it at this hour.
Okay. Thank you. Jack, how do you feel about it?
Yeah, if it goes back 20 years, and we have reviewed this project recently, not this project, but this property recently, I would tend to agree with Joe's approach.
Okay, thank you. All right, so that being said, we need a motion for the RDA.
I move that we issue a negative determination number 3, that we do a pre-construction inspection, that all excavated soil and post holes be taken off-site, and if any minor vegetation removal is needed for a fence installation, that only be cut with the roots left in place, and that we get a post-construction inspection by the department.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? That's unanimous. You're all set.
Great. Thank
I have
you.
one question quick. I'm sorry.
Sure.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
The fence, I just want to verify, as it is going to be to help keep the puppy in the yard, that we are able to have it at ground level.
Oh.
So,
Is this in a estimated habitat area, Amy?
No.
It's not. So movement of critters beneath the fence, it's chain link for that matter, so it's not a tight fence. Movement of critters is not essential, and I think ground level seems fair.
Okay. So that's all set.
Well, that's my perspective. Lou, ask others.
Well, if there's no natural habitat in there, then okay. But Sean, how do you feel about it?
I agree with that. If there's no natural habitat, the purpose of the fence is to keep the pup in.
Yep.
I'm okay with that.
Okay, Jack.
Yeah, I agree too. I think the only reason why we would want it to leave a space, a small space, 4 to 6 inches, is for critter migration. And if that's not an issue here, then it's not an issue for me either.
Okay. Thank you. All right, move to the poll of a commission, and they're fine with it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, NOIs, 242-1787, continue to the next meeting, which is April 13th, you said, Amy?
April 14th, yeah, we have no quorum.
April 14th.
Road.
Okay. And we have two more. We have, oh, sorry, all those, motion to continue?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous. And we have another motion to continue on 242-1807, 108 Rosemont Drive.
Lou, can we go back to when we just continued, the
Yeah.
1787? I know there was talk at, if not the last meeting, maybe the one before that, about creating a subcommittee on,
Yeah.
regarding the subsoil investigation. We've been waiting back and forth on this DEP determination, but I think maybe the subcommittee ought to meet, understand what the strategy should be in either case of what DEP might say, because this needs to unfold pretty quickly once we hear what they finally say. So it really is going to drive what level of subsurface investigation is needed or not. And without that, how can we do the stormwater review? So, I hope that maybe, I think it was Sean and I and Jack perhaps, but at least Sean and I who were on that subcommittee.
Yeah, that's who it was.
And we probably should start thinking about what it is we're looking for. So, in either case of what DEP says.
Okay. Well, what I would suggest then maybe have Amy schedule a meeting with Mike Miller,
Sure.
because I mean he's the one that's doing the communicating with DEP.
Yeah.
We should have asked him when he was there, but it was far down that I didn't even think of it. Where it was being continued. But Mike Miller is handling the DEP.
Yeah, I think this has gone on almost a full year now, and awaiting this DEP final determination. I think we want to be poised to commission that investigation. Wherever it's going to go.
Okay.
All right, so I'll contact you guys round robin, email, and figure out what works for everybody.
Excellent. Thank you.
Okay,
Sorry about that.
No,
That's okay. All right. So now we have we'll go back to 242-1807, 108 Rosemont Drive, continued to April 14th.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous. And the next one is 242-1808 Birchwood Drive, request to continue.
So moved.
to the 14th.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous. Just a quick question on this one, Amy. Is that are they going back to zoning?
I don't know yet, but
Okay.
they're in the midst of peer review, and only the first round of comments have been addressed, so or responded to. So they're in the thick of it.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Next one is enforcement orders 177 Great Pond
no.
Road.
We have
Gotta go on Gunquit.
15.
Oh, I'm sorry. I jumped over. Yeah, I'm sorry. 242-1805, 115 Agung Road.
No, we got to do
Salem.
NEC 271, 1550.
Oh, okay, 1550. I really jumped over. Yeah, NACC number 271, 1550 Salem Street.
Okay, so the commission will recall this project involves an above-ground pool, associated deck, pool equipment, and a deck expansion at the rear of the house with associated stairs. All of the work is out of the 50-foot no-build zone to an isolated vegetated wetland. The commission received an updated plan that shows a different pool shape. Originally, it was going to be rectangular, but with the permit process, their pool contractor had to move on, so she had to find a new pool company, and this oval shape was what was available. The commission will recall that we continued so that I had the chance to get on the site with the wetland consultant and review the wetland line and look at some soils. And based on our soil investigation during my site inspection, I'm comfortable with the delineation as shown on the plan. So we have an isolated wetland that's on the opposite side of the fence, and a strange little small pocket of hydric soils in the middle of the yard, but too small to be regulated. So that is that in a nutshell. And I would recommend closing the hearing and issuing a decision within 21 days. I have drafted an order for you this evening.
Thank you.
And I know the consultant and the applicant have this evening if you have questions.
Okay. Jack?
Yeah, have they proposed a cartridge type filter, a non-backwash type? Oh, I'm waiting for mine. It's 15 items.
That's a good question.
Yeah. While you're looking.
That's normally written in the order, Amy.
Yeah,
I thought we were going to put that right in the order.
Yes, but I didn't know if it was in the narrative or not.
Yeah, it should be. And I guess, I don't know how I missed this before, but this project is within the 100-foot buffer zone, and I'm not sure why it's not jurisdictional under the state act, only the bylaw.
Oh, because it's an isolated wetland. We don't have bordering vegetated wetland here.
Yeah. Okay. So there's two isolated wetlands. One's non-jurisdictional. The other one is jurisdictional, and that's where we're taking our setbacks.
Yes.
Okay, got it. I have no more questions, Lou.
Okay, thank you. Jack? Joe?
I have no questions.
Okay. Sean?
No question.
Okay, motion?
I move that we close NACC 271 and issue a decision within 21 days.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? And that's unanimous. Next one is 242-1805, 115 Agung Road.
Okie dokie. Here. All righty. So the commission will recall this is a construction of a new single-family house, associated septic system, driveway, utilities, and landscaping. We had continued this hearing so that conservation staff could get out there and review the wetland line with the wetland consultant, Greg Hockmith. We did that last week. We requested a small change to the wetland line, pulling wetland flag A7 up gradient about 20 feet. But this change did not impact the site plan as proposed. Foundation drain has been added to the plan. And in discussion with the chair, the commission will recall that there's an outstanding order of conditions that governs the subdivision roadway, Agung Road, that has yet to receive a certificate of compliance. Currently, the roadway has binder and 2 lots are left for development. And 15 Ogunquit has a portion of the detention basin that services the roadway. So in speaking with the project engineer, he informed me that the applicant would rather not do binder coat and try to go for a certificate of compliance until the leftover lots are fully developed. And then the thought with discussion with the chair is that perhaps pre-construction condition for this lot would be requiring maintenance of the detention basin because it is in need of maintenance. So that's really the issues that bubbled up during my site inspection. And I don't know if you guys have any questions. Project engineer John Moran is with us this evening. But I think we can close and issue in 21 days.
Thank you. Jack, any questions?
Just a basic one. I'm looking at the revised plan, and I'm not seeing where that oh, there's the foundation drain. Okay, I got it. I just wanted to see where that was going. I'm good. No questions, Lou. Yeah.
All right. Joe?
Yeah, in that short, brief period, I was thinking about the roadway came in as that separate filing. That order has got to long be expired, long expired.
Yep.
Because it's got to be 15 years.
Yes.
Here, a roadway still in binder is just kind of, after 15 years, it's just kind of crazy. But specific to this actual filing, I have no issues. But I think a reminder needs to be put out to the applicant. They need to refile for the roadway because they're in violation for everything that's really happening out there until such time as they get that done. And I don't want to use hyperbole, but it's got to be 15 or 20 years that this first got applied for.
Yeah, it's a DEP file number in the 800s.
Yeah, so I mean, particular to this filing, I have no particular issue, but I think forewarned that the applicant needs to take an affirmative position in refiling to complete that roadway, and that should be done post haste. And I'm all set on this particular application, though.
Okay. Yeah, like I said, I talked with Amy at length about certain parts of the procedure. I'm sure there's an O&M plan on that detention pond too that's kind of gone by the wayside. That's why I kind of looped it into this application, and I figured the road closure would grab them last two lots. So I'm aware of what you're talking about. And, if you think they should refile for the roadway, that's up to the commission. But I'm trying to stay on both sides of the fence here, but we'll see what happens. Sean?
No questions, Lou.
Okay.
Excuse me, Amy, can I ask a question?
Sure.
Sure.
Good evening. For the record, John Moran from the Moran Cameron Group. First, Amy had approached me about the maintenance in the drainage basins. Peter Breen has been maintaining the brush, keeping the brush cut down, but the trees have come up, some trees up in the ponds. They're not really affecting the storage volume of the ponds, but Peter has no problem going in and doing the maintenance per the original maintenance requirements for the subdivision. And you're exactly right, Joe. I mean, this subdivision was approved back in, I think, 96, 97.
Yeah.
This was one of the first subdivisions that kind of fell under the stormwater bylaw. And everything's done out there. And the reason why Peter never put finish coat on it was because of the fact that he had these two outstanding lots in the cul-de-sac. And he didn't want to put finish coat down and then risk the chance of damaging the finish coat. The binder, if you've driven out there, the binder is actually in really good shape, and it is pretty amazing that it's been binder all this time. But what Peter's plan is, once these lots are developed, he'll get the finish coat down and then do the remaining maintenance on the stormwater before he requests that the town accept the road for street acceptance, and when we'll be submitting an as-built plan for a certificate of compliance. With regards to refiling, right now, I'm sure in that order, there would have been outstanding conditions for maintenance anyway. So I'm not sure if you're saying that we need to refile in order to put finish coat down. I guess that would be the only thing that would need to be done.
Well, I guess I'm remembering just an age-old filing in an age-old order and
Right.
don't remember specifics of it. But I guess the caution would be that, any activity out there within jurisdiction, would be in violation to not only the existing order, but to the act itself. So, if it's putting a top coat on anywhere within jurisdiction, I would say, yeah, he's got to refile. And don't wait for the last minute, 11th hour before the town meeting warrant closes.
Oh, no, exactly.
Recommendation. Think about this well in advance and be forewarned. Don't get caught with your pants down at the last minute and not get it done.
Oh, correct. That's not going to be an issue. And I guess the question I'd have for the commission, and maybe we can discuss this later, but the fact that we're putting finish coat down on binder, I mean, could we get away with filing a request for determination of applicability? I mean, it's just, we're not expanding the pavement. We're just putting finish coat on binder.
I guess whatever vehicle is appropriate is certainly worth thinking about. But what I want to make sure that you were hearing and passing on to Peter is that, the end game here is to get the roadway accepted. And, there's a process, town meeting warrant, the selectmen approval, recommendations out of the planning board, recommendations out of us. That that takes some time. Not to simply assume it's going to happen at the 11th hour and be on the warrant 3 weeks before town meeting convenes. If the goal is that, be aware that he probably has to do something at the very least in order to get to that end game.
Right, and pretty much I'll be letting Peter know that the way I'm going to recommend we proceed is before we even submit the as-built plans for street acceptance, we would have already received the certificate of compliance, because that's going to be a requirement anyway before the town can accept the road, is that we have a COC from conservation. So I'm going
to defer to Sean on this one. I think I know the answer, but I'll defer to him. You've got an order of conditions that has a perpetual condition presumably after the certificate of compliance is issued. On an expired order, do those perpetual conditions still allow him to go do maintenance in detention ponds?
I don't know. I might have to look at that, but I do think that the order of certain things in the order conditions, like you said, it will go on after the order conditions are even complied with, after our COC.
So the presumption would be that even though they were never complied with, they still are obligated to do those things and therefore permitted to do those things.
Yeah. I mean, if it's something beneficial, okay, I think they're obligated to.
Okay, very good.
Thank you.
Okay. Sean, do you have any questions?
I don't know.
Okay. So
I just,
go ahead, Amy.
while we're talking about the road, I believe there was wetland replication involved with this project as well.
Yeah, and I believe when lot 12 was, an order of conditions was, or a notice of intent was submitting for, I believe, either lot 12 or lot 14. I'll look that up, Amy, and get in touch with you.
Okay.
At the time, I believe the wetland replication area was on that lot. So the commission at the time, I believe we submitted a interim as-built for the replication area.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that was still on the radar.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, like I said, like Joe's reinforced that there's going to be some work to be done before we get the roadway, worry about the roadway. Right now, we're concentrating on these two lots. And Mr. Breen is agreeing to cleaning up the detention pond, so that's a good thing. So we need a motion for, if there's no more questions, we need a motion for 242-1805.
I move that we close 242-1805 and issue a decision within 21 days.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? That's unanimous. All right, we got that one out of the way. Next one is 242-1806 Boxford Street, lot number 9.
Alrighty, so the commission will recall that this is demolition of existing outbuilding and associated concrete pads and construction of a new single-family house. The hearing was continued so that conservation staff could get out there with the wetland consultant, Greg Hockmuth, and review the wetland line. We requested a small change to wetland flag 39, moving it up gradient by 14 feet. But again, this change did not impact the site plan. A waiver request was submitted to request allowance for a small portion of the driveway falling within the 50-foot no-build zone. And the commission had asked for that at the last hearing. Yeah, that's all I have. I think the commission has enough information to close and issue, and they'd probably want to vote on the waiver for the driveway.
I have, before we have discussion, on a waiver, do we have to have a waiver request on a driveway in a 50-foot, in the 50? I'm not sure. And also, if we do need a waiver, aren't we supposed to have an alternatives analysis?
We debate that from time to time. My understanding of the intent of the bylaw and this provision is that, you know, walkways and driveways, when there were no other alternatives, are allowed, not a waiver. However, an alternatives analysis needs to be done in order to justify that there was no other alternative. But it's not, if there isn't, it's not a waiver, it's simply permitted.
If I could just add a little bit, again, John Moran from the Moran Cameron Group here representing Peter Breen. The commission may recall at the first hearing, we discussed the driveway and we discussed the reasons why a small portion of the driveway was within the 50-foot no build. And it was because we were trying to position the proposed dwelling as far outside the buffer zone as we could get it. And what it does is it positions the garage doors on the north end of the structure, and to swing into those doors, we had to swing the driveway out slightly over that 50-foot no build. And at the time, I felt having more of the dwelling out of the buffer warranted that small increase in, or that small area of pavement within the 50-foot no build. And I believe at the first hearing, the commission members that were present agreed to that as well. And that's when we moved forward with the waiver request that was submitted a few weeks ago. Because again, as Joe said, it's kind of, is it or isn't it a waiver? I mean, it does say in the regulations, if there's no other alternatives, then it's allowed. But we submitted the waiver request as requested.
Okay, well, that's why I asked the question. Okay, so Jack, do you have any input on that?
All I have is a comment that I do recall that discussion, and it's exactly how John had described it 5 seconds ago.
Okay, so are you thinking that it doesn't need a waiver?
Whether it needs a waiver or not, I think that's from the letter of the bylaw. I think typically we have voted on waivers of the 50-foot for you know, driveway encroachments. You know, so that's my opinion on that. I think we have done it in the past, but you know, not sure.
Okay, Joe?
I think it's a moot point. The applicant is acquiescing that, you know, it might require a waiver. His filed for such, and it has satisfied the alternatives analysis. And I think if he wishes a waiver vote, we will grant him one just to make sure we dot I's and cross T's. I'm all set.
Okay, Sean?
I think under, was it 5.0 of our regulations, it does require a waiver, and I'm glad that they presented the alternative analysis. I don't have an issue with it.
I didn't get all of that. Try that again.
I said I do think that under looking at our waiver provision now, that it's under, what is it? I just had it a second ago. Under waivers 5.0 or 5.0 waiver provisions and alternative analysis requirements. I do think it does require a waiver, and I'm glad that they provided us with that alternative analysis, which I don't have an issue with.
Okay. All right, so we need a motion on the waiver.
I move that we close, which one's this, 242-1806 and issue it as, I'm sorry, getting ahead of myself. I move that we approve the waiver request for 242-1806 for encroachment of driveway in 50-foot no-build zone.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that's unanimous. Oh my, the sky is definitely gonna fall in. 3 waivers in one meeting.
You're right, Lou. It is going to fall in.
I don't think he's done,
That's
I've been on the
fine.
board for 16 years. I don't think he's done 3 waivers.
Ever.
Both those magical alternatives analysis.
There you go. All right, so now we need a motion to approve the project.
To close.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? And that's unanimous.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Thank you, John.
Mr. Chair, before you move on, Peter Breen asked me to express, if I could have a few minutes of your time, only a minute.
Sure.
Many of the commission members that are on there are still on there that were involved in this project, this subdivision when it first came about. A lot of you know Peter Breen very well, and you've dealt with Peter over the last 25, 30 years. As you know, these are pretty much the last 3 lots that Peter's got in North Andover that have conservation issues. And Peter and Kerry Breen just wanted to thank the commission for all their attention over the last 20-something years. Peter's not very tech savvy, so the whole meetings and Zoom meetings and this type of meetings, you know, he's kind of upset that he wasn't able to come in and actually see the commission, you know, seeing these last 3 lots through. So he just asked if I could just give his gratitude to the commission for all the work that you've done with him, helping him through these processes over the years. And that's it. And I'd just like to say thank you.
Well, he's very welcome. He's a gentleman, and you know, he and his wife are good folks in town here, and you know, they do good work too. And you know, our job is tough when it involves people we know. In the same token, you know, he's done justice for what it is we expect.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Okay.
Thanks, John.
Thank you, John. Where am I here? Next one, your enforcement was correct? I gotta find my paper.
Yep.
It's 177 Great Pond Road, is that correct?
That's correct.
Ready.
Alrighty, so the commission will recall issuing an enforcement order a few months back for unauthorized vegetation removal and disturbance in buffer zone to wetlands. The commission issued an enforcement order requiring that the homeowner first secure the services of a wetland consultant no later than March 29th and submit an ANRAD application no later than May 1st. The applicant secured contract with Norse Environmental within, I would say, a month of our enforcement order. So that's been taken care of, and we have that on file. And the homeowner has been making sure to keep in touch with Norse to get them to put this property on their schedule for delineation. So I just wanted to give you that update. The applicant or the homeowner is with us this evening if you have any questions for him or if you'd like to speak to the commission because we didn't get to at the last time. But we're on the right track. And we just put this on the agenda to make sure, you know, it stays on our radar.
Okay, thank you, Amy. Jack, any questions?
No questions. Looks like we're moving along as desired.
Thank you. Joe?
Yeah, agreed. Good work. All set.
All right. My only question is, what was the drop dead date, deadline?
The ANRAD filed no later than May 1st.
Okay. And they haven't done that yet.
No.
Okay. Very good. Sean?
No questions, Lou.
All right. So we don't need any action on this number at all then, right?
No.
Okay.
If I may say something.
Sure.
Yes.
Hi, my name's Romain Strecker. I'm the homeowner. Thank you for letting me speak tonight. I've been chasing Norse Environmental now for over a month and a half. Amy knows about it. I've been CCing her on the emails, and I'm hoping to get them out in the next week. I've been chasing them and calling them every week to try and meet these deadlines. So I just wanted the commission to know that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. I mean, I can always give Maureen at Norse a buzz or an email myself, just reminding her of the May 1st deadline that we have in place.
Okay.
I would do that, Amy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
You know, but you could always give her the proverbial slap in the head.
We got to be careful. There's a lot of woke people around here.
Oh, well, if you want to fire me, I'd quit now.
Maybe we'll just cut your pay.
Hey,
Apparently you watch
fine.
the Three Stooges.
All right. The next one is 350 Winthrop Ave.
Okay. All righty. So on March 8th of this year, Conservation Department staff observed several large snow stockpiles in the designated no snow stockpiling areas within 100-foot buffer zone and BBW and the riverfront area at the Market Basket site. And a violation letter was issued on March 17th that required immediate installation of erosion controls between the edge of the snow and the disturbed soils to the wetlands. On March 19th, Delori Construction, which is the snow removal contractor, installed erosion controls in the areas specified in our letter. And then on March 22nd, our field inspector went out to inspect the erosion controls and confirms that they are secured and in proper locations. So I do believe we have representatives here this evening for the Market Basket.
Yes, we do. Norman Martin.
Okay, thank you, Norman. All right.
And Chris from Delori Construction is on the line as well.
Okay. All righty. So they were quick to respond to us. And Norman got back to, Norman and Chris got back to Taylor very quickly and responded to our requests. So staff recommends that the commission consider issuing a formal enforcement order with directives that require revegetation of the disturbed areas, perhaps installation of markers along the no disturb zone, making sure that if there are all of the no snow stockpiling signs are out there, or if they need to be replaced, or if there any of them are missing, and whatever other directives that you guys feel is necessary at this point. That's all I have.
Thank you. Jack?
Yeah, just a few comments. I noticed Taylor's pictures that there was a large snow stockpile right beneath a sign, right in front of a sign that says no snow stockpiling. So, and I think we've had this situation before, probably 10 years ago, but I've been on the commission that long. And it looks like where they're pushing it is up against 114, you know, on that section of the parking lot. It's a logical place to put it. but there is a stream that runs there from the other side of the street, from the other side of 114, and eventually goes down to the Shawsheen River, which is right down below there. It is a sensitive area. It's an area that's worth paying attention to. So it looks to me like it's a communication thing. You know, when contracts go out for bid, and the snow maintenance guy changes, maybe not all the information is transferred properly to the new guy. I'm just guessing, but it almost sounds like the guys plowing used a logical looking place to stockpile the snow, not knowing that it was forbidden or not looking close enough. So anyway, not to belabor the point, that's got to stop, and maybe the signs have to be more prominent. Amy had recommended as part of the EO replacing signs that were that had got knocked over or something like that. So it's important that whoever's doing snow maintenance on this very large parking lot understands that sensitive area, although it is a logical place to push the snow. But I know you have another place, and we went through this before. I think you were stockpiling it over there by the where you sell the Christmas trees, over toward the mobile station.
That's correct.
Yeah. So anyway, I think that's where we want you to store it. I'm just going by memory, but I think that's how it is, and so we want you to keep doing that. I guess my only question is, does it make any sense at all to remove the snow from the no stockpiling zone?
I'm just confused as to where you're saying it. Right now, the snow pile is in the area that was designated on, at least on the last approval. What had happened is and I can let Mr. Ryder talk to it, but some of the workers who were plowing this winter had contracted, and there were different workers put on the job, and one got a little overzealous with the pile and kept pushing, which pushed it within the buffer zone. Again, I'm not going to try to make excuses. We try to maintain it. Every year we loom and hydroseed the area that gets disturbed by the snow plow and in the storage area. I think we've been good citizens in that manner, and obviously, you know how busy that plaza is and how much activity goes on. We try to do our best.
If I could just chime in real quick. This is Taylor Andrews, Conservation Field Inspector. So the areas of snow, when I was on site, they were out of the snow storage area plan that we have from 2019. That plan is indicating snow within the parking lot in several areas. It is not indicating anywhere in that, area where you said the Christmas trees and whatnot were sold, and it had been pushed, right up to the edge of the wetland. So it was, pushed, well into the buffer zone and had caused quite a bit of soil disturbance. And there is now quite a bit of bare soil. So several areas that will need revegetating. And around back of the building, the snow was plowed directly into the wetlands. And back there was no signage, but I would recommend that that's something that be put up in the future.
Thanks, Taylor.
Okay.
I just want to make sure we're clear that, so we have the plan that Taylor just mentioned, which was part of a previous filing. We just went through another filing when I first got on board for the
The
stream.
swale improvements.
Right. And so that hasn't been acted upon yet. And so, you know, I feel like we're still operating under the old plan, but the commission can correct me if I'm wrong.
Well,
So-
to
Jack, you
continue
have
my,
some, all right?
yeah, I mean, I think overall, you know, Market Basket has been a good citizen. And I think after these comments, it reinforces to me that it was a communication issue, that snow was plowed beyond where it should have been, unintentionally. But it remains, we have an enforcement action, and I think one positive step would be to determine a plan where we can put signage, put notifications, so that it's very obvious that if you push it beyond this point, you're doing something wrong, and so we can prevent this from happening in the future. I think if we could communicate better with signs, for instance, as suggested by Amy and Taylor, that might be a good first step on moving forward, because it, like I said, I know your intent is to comply, and you've proven that for many years. I think it's a communication issue, and maybe there's some communication loopholes we need to close up, like, for instance, better signage, to get better compliance as we move forward. And that's all I have, Lou.
We can certainly present the. I'm sorry. We can certainly present the plan to the board, to the commission, with some signage appropriate. I'm a little confused at one thing, and I know in the August of 19 order of conditions, there were allowances for seasonal sales and snow storage in that corner.
Mhm.
So I'm just curious right now as to when that, you're saying that is not in effect? Because last year I would have been out of order.
No,
in
I think
placing
that
snow there.
I think you were correct in doing what you were doing.
Okay.
The other work you haven't proceeded with the upgraded swale.
No, we have not done that yet.
Right. So, but the new snow storage area was part of that order. So even though they didn't do the swale, there's not a problem with putting the snow, because that's what we wanted. The problem is that how far you went is
True.
the issue. You know.
Understood there.
Okay. Let me bring it back to Mr. Lynch and let him, because he that was his area, that swale and stuff.
Sure.
So he's probably familiar. Joe? Are you there, Joe? Amy, did we lose Joe?
Am I back? I'm sorry, I was muted.
Okay.
That's okay.
I see it from a different perspective. You guys are extremely diplomatic. What I see is signs doing no good. I'm seeing a sign that says no stockpiling, that the operator clearly avoided not hitting, yet push it way beyond it. What I see is clearly the applicant knowing during the debate of that swale project, when they were proposing to put a stormwater management area in, and we had to tell them that's where you put your snow. So, this is not news to anybody. So all this diplomacy is a bunch of malarkey, in Irish terms. What it really is you got a flagrant disregard for our order of conditions. They got a violation. I think fines are appropriate, absolutely appropriate. And I think moving forward, they need to know smack in the head fine is going to teach them to not do it next year. It's not a new contractor. It's the same contractor for years. He may sub it out. It's the contractor's responsibility to manage his subcontractors. So Christmas trees aside, 2019 aside, it's the same old stuff year after year. They're in violation. They should get fined. And that's where I am on this. Period.
Thank you. Thank you, Joe. I've been around construction a long time, and I know the Delory construction company very well, and I know it's the same equipment that's there every year. And I hate to say it, but it's poor supervision on their part for not doing what they're supposed to. I think as Mr. McDonough will probably say, I think there should be some type of permanent barrier to prevent this to happen again, because evidently the signs aren't working. So I'm going to defer to him on that. But I think that, and I know I know Taylor talked about the trash around the site, and I know that you have an order that's supposed to be cleaned up every year. So we shouldn't have to do this every year, like Ms. Wynn
Well,
said.
sir, excuse me, Mr. Chairman. I don't think we've done it every year. If I get notice or any sort of indication from either the store and or my visits to the site, believe me, things are cleaned up. We sweep that site 3 times a week. Trash picking. We have people that are out there with the giant vac and hand picking every day.
Our assistant administrator said he was out there and there was trash in the back of the building. No, I wasn't there, so I really can't comment on that.
I shop there 3 days a week. I've never seen anybody picking trash ever.
All right. So we're not. Let me defer to Mr. McDonough and see what he has to say.
Well, I think, as they say, a picture is worth 1,000 words. I do think there should be a barrier up to prevent this from happening in the future. We usually have people do it before they have violations like this, at least as we try to when we have new filings come in front of us. But when we have a violation like this, yeah, I think some kind of a fence right along that area where we see the signage would take care of this issue. It would take care of a lot of the trash going in that area. Seems like a good solution.
Okay.
All right. So we're talking about a barrier, and I know Mr. Delory has plenty of them. Maybe some large boulders along the fences to keep. Hopefully, that'll keep the loader guys out of the areas. And we got to stay on the order of the trash pickup and the cleaning of the yard. And I know I'm not saying that it's not or it is or whatever, but I know our administrator was there, and he noted that there was quite a bit of trash behind the building. But I think some type of permanent barrier should be installed to try and rectify the situation.
In the Mr. Chair and the Commission, where would you expect that fence to be put at this point? And I'm just looking at the proposed swale and management there. Are we looking back at the plan that was just approved in August of 19, and putting it somewhere along the 50-foot buffer or the 100-foot buffer?
Anybody want to chime in?
The new swale is supposed to go between the 100 and the 50-foot buffer.
Like I said, I don't know. Joe, you were involved in that. I can't remember off the top of my head.
I don't have the plan in front of me, but I would recommend if there was a line established to put the no snow stockpiling signs, I would move that 10 feet up gradient from those signs and put a physical barrier in that location. But again, that's shooting from the hip without actually having a plan in front of me.
I hear you.
And I don't think we said fence. I think we just, you know, I know the Delory company has large boulders that we could put along the snow line. So I think
Okay.
I think if a loader guy saw a big boulder in front of him, that he would tend to slow down.
Would you like us to submit a plan of our proposal prior to placement?
Yeah, that would be a good idea.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Lou, you don't like a fence?
What, you want a fence? That I'm just trying to make it compatible for everybody.
Looking at the size of the equipment that's down there, the fence is not a hindrance whatsoever. A boulder is going to tell the operator exactly what he needs to do. I agree with Lou.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's probably a good approach. Have them draw up a plan for us to consider, and then it's all in front of us.
Yeah, like I said, Sean, the fence doesn't bother me either way, but I think it would be better if they use boulders, because if they push against the fence, it's going to be starting to get bent and collapse, and you know, aesthetically for the applicant, it's not going to look pretty after a while. So, but the boulders, no, the guy who's going to run over a boulder, he's going to remember it.
Yeah, I just thought the fence could also serve the purpose of keeping trash out of there as well, and debris that gets blown around the parking lot. And also that if, you know, if they're putting up the new fence there and they damage it, you know, they're damaging their own property. So hopefully they would be on the best behavior. But I'd like to see what the boulder proposal is and how close they are, et cetera, just to make sure.
Yeah, but Sean, just to lend some logic to what I was suggesting, when I said 10 feet upgrading from the 25, the boulder line given at 10 feet is the advanced warning. The fence would be the final warning, and it also couples as the trash collector. And I think a combination of the two is fair game in this instance. And if you have the boulders 10 feet away from it, you're not going to simply damage and bend the fence. So I think maybe both.
Okay, we'll see what they propose, I guess.
Yeah, we'll wait. We have another winter to come, but in the meantime, they have an outstanding enforcement order here, and we should give them some deadlines to present the stuff to us.
Okay. How much time do you guys would need to come up with a plan?
I can probably get something within 30 days.
Okay. So, Amy, what's the next meeting? So May 1st? What's the first meeting in May?
Let's see. Hold on, I'm looking. Oh, that's at the top of my head, and I just don't. Okay. Our first meeting in May is the 12th.
The 12th.
Yeah.
Okay. So that would give you almost 2 months.
Yeah. Is there a submittal deadline?
7 days prior to the meeting.
Yep.
Well, it's either that or April 28th.
Oh, that's our April 28th meeting?
Yeah, we have an April 28th meeting.
So that gives you what? That's 6 weeks, correct? 5 weeks?
Something like that.
5 weeks, yeah. Should be able to get that.
Yeah. Okay.
You want to do the April 28th?
Yeah, we'll do April 28th.
Okay.
All right. And then if in the meantime, if there's any remedy you can do, if we don't get any more snow, you know, to clean up whatever areas that have to be cleaned up.
Absolutely. We'll have the landscapers go there and clean it up and level it out and hydroseed it.
Very good.
As far as the trash out back, if there's trash out back, it'll be gone shortly.
Very good. Okay, so we're gonna issue the enforcement order until April 28th. and they'll have the new plan ready.
Great. All righty. So
Very good.
to continue.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, so we have to vote on the enforcement order? Is that correct? Or is that all, it's already in place?
Well, yeah, whatever you guys think.
We probably have to amend enforcement order
Yeah,
until those deadlines.
Yep, okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
So if that's the case, so
4, 7, so submit a plan 7 days prior to the April 28th meeting.
so moved.
Second.
second.
all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, and that's unanimous.
Great.
All
Alrighty.
right, we're all set with that one.
Yeah.
Okay. Just let me get my papers. I got papers all over the place. Next one is, decision times.
Decision time.
Decision time. The first one I have here is NACC number 271, 1550 Salem Street.
Okay. So I set the bond at 1,000.
By me?
I set the bond at 1,000.
Then you have the non-backwash filter.
Yep.
I did see that.
8-inch mulch stock. This is really flat.
Mhm.
Okay.
Do you think we need erosion control blanket too?
Blanket? Probably not if it's that flat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you said it was flat.
Yeah.
You've got what, silt sock as the erosion control, or,
Yeah.
yeah, you don't need a blanket.
Okay. Alrighty. So, wetland markers. We have an existing fence line. The fence, is closer to the wetland than 25. I don't know if you guys want the 25 monumented or if the fence is okay.
I think both. I think the fence is a great media on which to affix a marker.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's closer, but the fence was pre-existing, so
Right.
it's staying. So I
Right.
think what we want to do is notify folks that beyond that point is protected.
Okay. All right.
Is there mowing going on beyond the fence?
No. Nope.
Okay, then the fence makes sense.
Okay. Yep.
It's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Beyond that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have nothing else.
Okay.
Yep, I think I'm good too.
Jack, you want to move it? You want me to?
Oh, I'll do it. I move that we issue the order of conditions for NACC number 271 as drafted and amended.
Second.
Did we lose Lou?
Did we lose Lou? Yeah.
Seriously? Lou, what happened?
Did
No,
we
Lou's
lose
there.
a quorum?
You there, Lou?
Yep.
Lou, where are you? 2, 3, 4.
I would normally send out a maybe, but I'm afraid that Jack would answer.
Let me just text him.
Yeah, I'm trying to do the same thing.
Hello?
Hi.
Hey,
Lou?
Lou.
Oh, I was missing.
Yeah.
Oh, are we all set?
Yeah, so we have a motion and a second to approve 1550 Salem.
Sorry. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous. Okay, next one is 242-1805, 115 Agung Road. I know, let's see.
So let's see. Pull it up here.
Okay.
We might want to remove the special condition requiring maintenance of the basin from this after our discussion.
Yeah, he said he was going to do
No.
it.
He says he's gonna do it.
Oh, okay, that's right. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Never mind. I was thinking about the road. Never mind.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
All right.
Okay.
Those revision dates, right?
I'm gonna no, actually, I think it's the 22nd. That's why I put him
Okay.
in.
Okay.
Yep.
Condition 22.
I'll make sure they're correct.
5,000 for a house.
Yeah, I just threw it out there. I know we wanted to increase it more than 3,000.
No, we've been wanting to increase the bonds on the houses. Plus, we got that pond, the detention pond to be maintained or fixed.
Hmm. Does that make sense to everybody?
What's that?
The 5,000.
Oh, it's okay with me, but I know we've been looking to change it, and we probably should take some action sometime.
So I had 75 feet of mulch sock with erosion control blanketing. As
Amy, what does that represent? Is it like 20% of the required erosion control as a fail-safe? 50%? You know, where does the 75 come from?
Well, I guess I was just trying to split it down the middle. I thought anything less than 75, was not enough, and more than 75 might be just overkill.
No, I understood. I'm just kind of curious. Do we have like a rule of thumb? If a project is calling for 100 feet, is 75 overkill, or
Yeah.
there's some sort of vulnerability that we want to make sure we have on hand. So just want to make sure I'm not being arbitrary in that number. Well, it's a discussion for another day. I think 75 is adequate here.
Okay.
If they have a problem, they can order another 75 feet within a day. It'll be on site.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, so condition 50 about wetland, well, marking the no disturb zone. I don't know if it makes sense to mark the building envelope for natural heritage. I don't know, or if we just mark at the 25. And like, what do we use? Do we do a wall, stone wall, or markers, or I mean posts?
And usually we resolve the stone wall as we're looking at the details of the project.
Yeah.
If we didn't condition one up to now, we typically don't do it out of the blue in the order.
Okay.
This is on the opposite side of the road from the natural heritage area, right?
No, it's natural heritage envelops it. So the building envelope got carved out into it, basically.
So the question is, put the markers on the. Go ahead, Joe. I'm sorry.
Yeah, 115 Algonquin, wasn't it on the opposite side of the road from the actual resource area of the brook?
Oh yes, the river, yes. And it's
Yeah.
wet.
So again, why? So you know, dimensionally, it may be within jurisdiction, but the reality is it's separated by a road. So a mark is appropriate. Are the markers establishing the separation between the house and the road in that resource, or is it the back of the sides?
Hold on.
I think the back and the sides are fair game.
Right.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Right. No, I see what you're saying. Yes. That's what I meant. Yep. With the A series. You know, I don't know. I'd still like to see a few markers on the opposite side of the driveway.
Okay, fair enough. If that's what you know, not going to disagree.
Yeah, and it looks like, I'm not sure I'm reading this right, but it looks like the tree line, oh boy, it looks like the 20, as you go from the driveway, as you come up the driveway, the 25-foot no disturb zone is on your right.
Right.
Yep.
Okay, are there trees in there, or is that open?
It's a little bit open. It's sort of a mix. It's not like totally forested. You know what I mean? It's
then post.
Yeah.
And then in back, it looks like you got the detention area. It looks like the tree line is just outside the 50 foot.
That's what I'm seeing.
You want to go on trees there?
Yeah. Okay.
Jack, that's the A series that we're looking to identify? Yeah.
Yeah.
Agree with that. If there's sufficient trees, putting one of the trees is adequate.
Okay. So posts on B series, trees on A series. Okay.
Makes sense?
Yep. Okay.
Condition 57. I often say I'm intrigued by the word. This order is more important. all the others.
No, right. I don't know. I inherited that one.
I know. It goes back to Orel Cormier.
Oh, before my time.
Oh, before most everybody's time.
Yeah, other than that, it's all.
Okay.
since I-
Anybody have
I'm
any
good.
questions?
Okay.
Those nothing more.
Nope.
Good.
No further.
Okay. Motion then.
I move that we issue the order of conditions for 242, 1845, 1805 as drafted and amended.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? That's unanimous. Next one is 242, 1806, Boxer Street, Lot 9.
Are you going to mention the waiver of the 50-foot for the driveway in condition 21?
Yeah,
Yep.
I just left it in green pending our discussion.
Yeah. The applicant requested a waiver, which the commission granted.
Yep.
Yep. Including Sean.
I think I used all my waivers for 2021.
I think you did, 3 in one day.
And
I know, Amy. We're gonna get all messed up. Usually when you ask me about waivers, I say, Sean's never gonna go for that.
I know. Now I'm not. I gotta hang my hat on something.
yeah,
Yep.
I would keep using that hook because every now and then he'll surprise us, but mostly we can count on a debate.
On a big fat no, right?
Yep.
No, you just have to think, Sean's a real reasonable character, and if it's something that is obviously waivable, he will do it. But if not, it's probably not going to happen.
No.
It's been rare, but boy, tonight's one of those nights.
Which is about 97% of the time.
It is, yeah. We usually don't have people looking for waivers when they're putting things on hot top. We'll take those any day of the week.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So condition 49, again, Amy, we, same sort of discussion we just had on the last lot.
Yep. Okay.
So what do you think is appropriate here?
All right. Let me get that plan in front of me.
Sure. Are we working from the septic design plan?
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Making sure I'm opening the right one.
Yep. Let's see here.
Well, during the hearing, I could open that plan. Right now, it won't open.
Oh, figures, right?
Right.
So this house will be looking at the pond across its driveway. And it's got an A series that is all in the back.
It opened.
There we go.
I had to close it to open it.
There you go.
It looks like the 25-foot is pretty in cleared area right now.
Yeah, because it's
for the A series especially.
yeah,
Hmm.
it's the old outbuilding. Yep. So posts for there, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like both. Yep.
Yeah, same for B and C. It looks like.
Yeah.
If you look at the back corner, oh God, it's 105 feet away on the septic system. So even the limited clearing for the septic system's still probably 95 feet away. So nothing needed there.
Yeah, and it's the driveway is in between it too.
Okay, see that.
I just condition posts, and if there seems like a few areas where they could put them on trees, you could give them the leeway.
Okay. Okay.
But condition posts, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think?
I agree. If they want to discuss relaxation, and we can do that site specific.
Yep. Okay.
And that will be at the 25-foot.
Yeah.
Setback.
And I do want to note that condition 56 is very important. Should the others be labeled not so important?
Not so important. I know.
Minor. Not major, minor. Obviously, we have nothing else. I just have one question on the plan, Amy. I'm just happening looking at it, and it said the water line and the stockpile, they go to the same spot. So we'll put the water line after we do everything?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, it's stockpiles over water line and the underground utility.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That wouldn't work too good.
No. All right. Well, we can shift that.
Yeah, just ain't much places to shift, but you can. Yeah, just make a note of it when you do your site review. You can.
Okay.
You can move.
So
that
think
over.
of it. The stockpile is for the foundation excavation. Once that's all excavated and backfilled, that's when they bring the water line in. So that stockpile will already be gone by the time the water line comes in.
Okay.
But keep it the way it is. But I think sequentially it works just fine.
Okay. Yeah, I saw it and I was like, wait a minute.
We're going to tunnel it.
Okay.
They could for that water line, that was a separate order as well, and they should go for COC with that one. That
was the water main. You're talking about the water service to the house, aren't you, Lou?
Yeah. It's the stock. It says proposed water service. Yeah.
The water service. The water main coming in was a separate order of conditions. That's what Amy's alluding to.
Okay. Yeah, it doesn't say the main. It just says service.
Yeah. The water main comes up the driveway and connects by cross country to other lots.
Mm-hmm.
So this service taps off of that, going right through the stockpile.
Yep.
Okay.
I have nothing else.
I don't either.
Yeah, I'm good.
Any questions? All right, motion?
I move that we issue the order of conditions for 242-1806 as drafted and amended.
Hey, Amy, just for reference,
Yep.
Clerical, 1806 of the order of conditions, the footnote says 1805.
Oh, thank you.
I'm just noticing that, yeah.
Oh, thanks. I worked off.
Yep, I know.
All righty. Thank you. Fixed. All right. Did we have
The footer, yeah.
that one?
So Jack made a motion, second?
Okay,
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous. Next one we need is signature authorization.
yep.
I authorize that the Conservation Administrator, Amy Maxner, execute our signatures on behalf of all actions we've taken tonight requiring a signature.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous. And I had two different agendas, so I have another one here. General new and old business discussion on the in-person meeting. We're talking about meeting at the town hall, the next meeting. So I mentioned it last meeting, and so what happened, it was brought up. So
Right, so we've got the official green light to be able to meet in person, just board members and staff, up to 8 people in the Board of Selectmen room. So,
Just establishing the ground rules ahead of time so we know what to be prepared for, you know, masks or no mask or seating or whatever, just as long as we know.
mhm.
My comment at the last meeting was a compliment, Amy, to just what a great job you've done to, you know, keep these things going as remotely. Honest to God, you know, shuffling between agenda and documents and plans back and forth. I have dual screen. It is so easy to do this.
Yeah,
You've done a great job, really great job.
thank you. It is efficient, but, you know, if you guys want to get back and see each other, you know, have at
Well, I
it.
need a haircut anyway.
Well, are we allowed to bring our tablets in to the meeting and
Oh, yeah.
like view these documents as we do at home?
Yep, but we'll be able to get back up on the screen the way we used to,
Yeah.
so we can project, and North Andover Cam would probably video us at that point too, so people would be able to see us and see the screen that we're looking at.
But
Joe's
no
checking
applicant representatives, they're still remote, correct?
Exactly, yes. No public and no applicants or reps.
It seems like a nice phase-in, yeah.
Well, and Joe's checking the history on some of these sites during the meeting, and that has come in handy. You know, that I would encourage you to keep doing that, Joe, or teach me how to do it.
It is a great tool. Sometimes you know, the photos aren't clear, but I'll tell you, it's scary actually how much aerial photography is out there. You can look at any particular house anywhere in the country and go back wherever there was a photo taken. You can look at it. It comes back as a mosaic. You can see the changes, you know, photo to photo, going back 20, 30 years.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
All right, so
Anyway,
it's
enough of that.
it's the general consensus that we will meet at the town hall next meeting.
Yes, I'm fine with it.
I'm good.
Sean?
If you guys are good with it, I'm good.
Okay, so that's what we're gonna do, Amy. We're gonna meet at the town hall next meeting.
Okay. All right.
All right?
Sounds good.
Yeah, it does.
All right. Just a quick couple of little business. Just FYI, National Grid is going to be replacing a gas line and Great Pond Road at where it meets Route 125. So it'll start there and go 1,045 feet to in front of about 1915 Great Pond Road. So it's an existing gas line. It's metal, and they're going to replace it with a plastic pipe. And this part of the gas line is entirely within the paved right of way.
So it's exempt.
Yeah. But I just want I wanted to let you know, because you know they're going to be starting, I think the middle of April, and it'll be, you know, a few weeks, I think they said, but just FYI.
19, what'd you say, 19 what? What is that? That's not near Butcher Boy, right?
It's
Butcher Boy all the way down to just
before Ray's Pond, like Minicucci's old house on the left.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yep.
And it's gonna go to
Yeah, I would know.
125, you said?
Yeah.
Okay. The reason why I'm asking is because are they gonna tie into that gas line along 125, that high pressure gas line that was the bone of contention for continuing that sidewalk?
Probably.
Oh, yeah.
That's one of my pet peeves. Sorry. I don't like wasting
Yeah.
money. I've been in business for a long time, and I don't like wasting money. And building a sidewalk, stopping it, leaving one area empty, and then start the sidewalk over again boggles my imagination.
Yeah, the gas main.
They're
does-
exempt. They don't need to file anything, Amy. They just notify us, right?
Exactly, yeah, and I wanted
We
you.
can't require them to put a sidewalk in then, right?
No, it's not. That wasn't. It was the town who was supposed to put the sidewalk in, and we couldn't put it on the other side because the owner of the land didn't want the sidewalk on their side.
I remember all that. Absolutely.
Okay.
So, but I couldn't help myself. Okay,
All right, that's all.
that's it. All right, so we need a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right.
Opposed? And that's unanimous. Thank you, everyone.
All
Next
right.
time I'll see you at town hall.
See you in 3 weeks.
All right.
All right, everybody.